Hello, welcome to Blue Rose Podcast. This is episode 51. Blue Rose Podcast is dedicated for women looking to reclaim their power by healing their shadows and stepping into their authentic self. I want to talk to you today about how do you recognize your shadows? How do you recognize that childhood shadow imprint that has blocked you from being the woman you're meant to be, to becoming the most powerful you can be? And define your blue rose. A lot of times, well, most of the times, your shadows are hiding so deep. The big ones, the little ones pop up easy. It's the big ones that are hard to find. So ways to recognize them is one is patterns. If you find that, we'll use weight loss because usually behind weight loss is shadows. Every time you go on a diet, you lose maybe 5 pounds and gain weight back, or you lose 50 pounds and gain 60 back. Some people, their weight loss shadow won't show up until they try on new clothes, a size 10, and all of a sudden their shadow shows up. Or they go out to dinner and everybody else is eating really good and they feel like they're being punished and their shadow shows up. So you recognize it by what happens for you to sabotage yourself. What has to happen for you to fall off the diet wagon, or to fall off the drinking wagon, or to you get yourself, you're really happy, life is going great, and then you crash again, and you build yourself back up, you figure it out, and life is going great, everything's going wonderful, and you crash again. That is also another pattern. When things go really well, something bad happens. What do you link that bad happening to? And I'm going to give an example of a client of mine. And whenever I talk about my clients, I never disclose who they are, but I also go to them and say, I really like to use your, the challenge that we work through our private coaching, through my one-on-one coaching program. Is that okay? And, I think I had one ever tell me no. The rest are all like, sure, just don't say who I was. So this coaching client, she has been trying to diet since she was a child, and nothing worked out. And she tried every diet. She tried Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and carbohydrates and starve yourself and fast yourself and intermittent fasting, working out, don't working out. You name it, she tried it. So we sat down, and these are the steps to how you start healing your shadows. Is first of all, you have to find it. So we started talking. We got out a big whiteboard and started writing down all the times that she went on a diet, which was, continuously. But we'd hit those, okay, that wasn't the answer. Because she's like, nope, you'll feel it, you'll know. So then we're like, okay, now you've lost weight. You've lost some weight. And there was the aha. Every time she lost weight, something bad happened. And so she decided that she was the problem behind that something bad. And it's called, in philosophy, when I took philosophy in college, they called it the logic formula. The logic formula goes exactly like this. All men are green. You are a man, therefore you're green. That's the logic formula. If you watch movies or lawyers are taught that exact formula. So in her mind, whenever I lose weight, bad things happen. I lost weight, bad things happen. Every time, and she would play this over. Every time I lose weight, bad things happen. I've lost weight, see, bad things happen. And it would confirm to her that hypothesis. So we really had to work through, what are all the bad things that happen, and how do you think they're attributable to your weight loss? And so we talked through a lot of them. Her getting ready to go to a school dance and her mother being ill and she couldn't go. And so she put the weight back on it. She lost to go to the school dance. She lost a lot of weight in college. She put on freshman 20 and she put on like a freshman 50. She lost all the weight in college and people quit talking to her. Her best friend stopped talking to her. So, we had to talk through, why do you think your best friend really stopped talking to you, and get to the root of it. She's getting ready to get married. She goes on a diet. She loses all this weight. She goes to try on this beautiful wedding gown. It didn't fit the way she liked it. She viewed herself as being fat. She put the weight back on. Within a week after she was married, she started eating again. And this pattern persisted because bad things happen. She finally goes on a diet. She finally loses the weight. She has gone 3 months. The weight is off. She is feeling great. Her mother passed away and she put the weight back on. Now she attributed that to she was stressed because she had to take care of, her mother's properties, you know, all her assets and everything. But she didn't realize, so we sat down and talked, that again, things were going well for her, so something bad happened. And that was finally her tipping point, because she realized she couldn't stop her mother from dying. That's a natural thing in life. And that's when she finally realized, okay, let's go back. And so when you start seeing the patterns, the way you heal the patterns is you look at what the pattern, what's behind the pattern. So you look for the pattern hidden in the pattern. So for her, anytime something bad happened, as she got older, because most of this stuff happens when you're a child and you don't have the time to differentiate. As she got older, she just linked them together. But as a child, it made perfect sense to her. She's going to go to dance, her mother gets sick. When she was really young, you know, she was getting ready to do something. She just started linking all this stuff together. So then she had to sit down and think, looking at the shadow and saying to the shadow, then none of this was my fault. It was life. And as soon as you can say to yourself, regardless of what the shadow is, this isn't my fault, or I did not cause this, or you know, Uncle Ralph said this horrible thing to me and I have to let it go. Or, you know, in my case, I was abused as a child and I have to let that go. I have to either put meaning to it, to why it happened, or I have to understand that it happened. I can't stop it, but it was not my fault. And I had to learn to heal all their shadows of the abuser saying it was my fault, everything, you know, because that's how it works. So how you find your shadow is look for your patterns. Anytime you feel like, you know, I feel like I've been here before, I feel a little groundhoggish here, you know, Groundhog Day, or, you know, you start kind of looking back and saying, I really wish that I could learn how to play the piano. But you can't, you know, and it would take you back actually to not a client, but a childhood friend of mine. She was a pianist savant. She could play piano. I mean, she could go through Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, seriously, the book, the piano book to teach you how to play it, you know, the notes in that. And she would flick through it like that and be bam. When she got older, you know, when she was in college, she overdosed on acid and was never the same after that. And I really had to put the pieces together, because I couldn't figure out how she was, you know, ready to go to Juilliard and she blew her life up like that. And back then I didn't even know what a shadow was, but I had to put meaning. I'm that type of person that has to put meaning to events. And what I've learned since then is, you know, I have to figure out what people's childhood shadow imprints are. And when she was younger, her parents didn't have a lot of money, but she was so good on the piano that they went out and spent all their money on a piano. Beautiful baby grand. It took up 3/4 of their living room. I'm not lying to you. You had to step around that piano to do anything in that house, except go through the front door. But after that, you were constantly tripping over the piano. And she felt guilty. She felt guilty her whole life about it. But she couldn't do anything about it because she couldn't figure out, she didn't realize she was feeling guilty until she sought counseling after, you know, her overdose and figured it out. It's just that little thing that could happen. Her parents thought they were giving her the best life they could. And they truly believed that they explained to the other children, and the other children were okay with it. And, you know, I won't get into whether they were or they weren't, but it didn't matter. It's how she felt about it. It doesn't matter how anybody else feels about an incident, it's how you feel about it. And that's where some people also get tricked up. It's like, well, I don't know how I have the shadow because everybody in my family remembers the event like this, and I remember it like that. Only matters how you remember it. And how you start to heal it is to look for the patterns. Remember that your answers are always in the pattern, and remember the logic formula. All men are green, you're green, therefore you are a man. That has stuck with me since college. I've written papers. I've given presentations using that formula. If you watch politics, they use the formula because they'll paint the picture that everybody's like this, you're like that, therefore you're like everybody. Check it out. It's fascinating. And if you want me to do a podcast on it, you know, let me know down in the comments. I hope this has helped you guys. I hope you enjoy my podcast. Please, if you so inclined, leave me a review on iTunes. Give me a review. And if you're watching this on GoDaddy, on YouTube, because I like to do video and audio. I'm a video person. I like to watch people. but I know a lot of my friends are audio. So, they're like, could you please put it on audio? So check it out. Give me a review. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're interested in coaching with me, DM me. My playground is over in my Facebook group, Blue Rose Community. My playground's over there. You can just DM me over there. Have a great day, you guys. And here's to you healing your childhood shadow imprints and finding your blue rose. Thanks, guys.